Sharing your faith. What's the first point I gave you 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? You have to believe in the product. The product has been working for you. What's the second point I gave you? Taken from Romans chapter 1. You must be convinced that that's the only way to the gospel. You cannot be ashamed of the gospel. You cannot be ashamed of the gospel. Now, I don't know if I said this to you, but let me say it to you now. One of the reasons why it's difficult for people to share their faith is because there's a fight that goes on when it's time to share your faith that does not go on when it's time to share anything else. Now, what's that fight? What is that fight? What is that fight? It's a spiritual battle. See, Satan isn't at work when you have to talk about your favorite basketball team. Satan isn't at work when we dress up in the paraphernalia of whatever we represent, whether it's a political party, whether it's a ball team, whether it's a particular brand, clothing brand, or a sporting brand, it doesn't matter. Satan is not at work. He's relaxed, he's sleeping, because he knows there's no life-changing energy in any information you share outside of the Lord Jesus. But now when it's time to talk about the Lord Jesus, Satan goes to work. And he brings up all of your fears. He brings up all of those things in your head that he will not bring up if you have to talk about something else. So there's a spiritual battle going on. And that's what we have to keep in mind. Now today I want to show you how to be dressed for an opening to talk about Jesus. I don't mean clothes either. How to be dressed to get an opening to share your faith. If I said this to you, much respect. What do you normally hear that from? The Rastas, right? Yeah, we normally hear much respect. Whatever extent to which they believe. If you saw me doing this, what might you believe?
Muslim.
Yeah. So you see that there's certain things that we dress ourselves in. People know exactly who we are. They just know. How do they know you're a Christian? How does your audience know that you're a believer? No, I mean, you have to tell me. That's just a question. Each of you have to determine that for yourself. But this is what I want you to... I want you to put in this order. I want you to dress before you speak. So a lot of us speak, but we're not dressed. And so when we speak, it's hard to believe us. So we have to dress first. Let's go to Psalm 145. I'll give you a simple layout this morning. How do I dress so I can share the gospel? Psalm 145. How do I dress so I can share the gospel? By the way, is anyone in the room? I don't mean this to be funny or facetious. Is anyone in the room who got saved without the means of a human being? Or the avenue of a human being? In other words, you were just home by yourself, and the Lord came in your room, said to you, follow me. So you all heard the gospel by what means? Someone else. Yeah, that was the point. Psalm 145, it says, I will what? Extol. Does anybody know what that word means? Okay, that's one of the translations. What's another meaning of the word I will extol? To praise, to take, to talk, to exalt. Now let's read this out. He says, I will extol thee, my God, O King, and I will bless thy name forevermore. What does the word bless mean then? you get the same attitude you eulogize. So, in that one verse, what do we see going on, according to the psalmist? He's what? He says, I will lift you up. I will talk about you. I will boast about your name. Now, have you ever met a person who boasts about God and is irritating? Yeah. What is irritating about it? And okay, that's one. This is the third thing. Some about it is pretentious.
Yeah, they're giving their self-glory.
Yeah, it ain't. It's really. That's not what we're talking about this morning, you know. We're talking about simple ways to dress so people would know who you represent. For example, the psalmist says, I will extol thee, O God, my King. Think about it real simple. You left home. You're going to work. It was raining really hard. You got to work. You got inside. Fill it in. Just simply, boy, I'm really excited God gave you safe passage and all that. See, there's a difference between boasting about God without being dressed and talking about God with no dress. One of the simplest ways that you can share your faith or look for an opening to share your faith is in what I call, and I don't want this to be misunderstood, in what I call reserved ways you give God praise. You say, why am I using the word reserve? Because if you over the top, most people reject that. Let's just be real here. If you over the top, most people got to reject that. Simple ways. For example, what do you think about the upcoming evaluation? You think you're going to get promotion? Hey, I've done my best. Promotion is of the Lord. The Lord will determine who gets it. What if they don't like you? Then the Lord put me here to use that person to keep me down for a reason. You see where your focus is? People can't handle that kind of talk, you know. I don't think. Let me show you how significant this whole thing is. Many days when I was flying to reach United, it would be bad. Not bad enough to where you wouldn't fly, but bad enough to where most passengers say we're going to die. You know, that kind of bad. You know, there were people that called wanting to know if I was flying the plane. Because we know he's a godly man. And I always thought it was interesting. I always thought that was interesting. I said, why you want to know if I'm flying? Well, God got his hand on you. I think if we are, you know. And what did I just get? I got an opening. Because my point is, my friend, when you're coming back, I may not be flying. And what if the plane goes down? Are you ready to see God? So you have to be dressed. Learn to give God simple praise in appropriate positions every single day. Never be ashamed of the fact that you are convinced God takes care of you. Never be ashamed to acknowledge that. So, like I said, some people can handle that. But let me tell you what's going to eventually happen. Let's go to the next verse. He said, every day I will bless thee. Every day. And I will praise thy name forever and ever. Verse 3. Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised. And his greatness is what? Man, I can't even search out how great God is. I give God praise. I give him praise. One generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. I will speak of the what? The glorious honor of thy majesty and of thy wondrous works. Have you ever had anyone ask you, man, you really believe in God that much? Or they make you say, well, you're really a strong believer now. You know why? They admire your talk and your walk about Jesus. This is what I've learned. If you hold your ground and live your testimony, people will come looking for you. On your job, when you are dressed and you declare Jesus, even though they may back away from you, when their darkest moment comes, they know just who to find.
Yes, yes.
They know just who. Would you pray for me? Well, that's the person who wasn't speaking to you, you know. Well, what's the matter? Having some problems at home. Okay. Man, would you pray for me? What happened? Well, you might put an application for my son to get a scholarship. Would you pray for me? People aren't silly, my friend. And what God says, so we must, the simple truth that we forget, we must be simple, salt, and light. Salt and light. Let me show you another way you could really put God on display. Never ask someone to sign in for you for a time you know you're not there. You just became darkness. And then when someone asks you to sign in for them, say, I can sign in for you, but I have to put the time that it is right now. That's all you have to say. But why do you have to do that? That's the only right thing for me to do. I can't sign in for you if you're not here. I can only sign in. And then if the rule of the company says you can't sign in for anyone, they simply say, hey, I'd like to do it, but I can't. You know, that's violating the company rules. But man, you can just do that for me? No, I really can't. You see how simple it is to maintain a testimony? But a lot of us don't have the courage. You need boldness to stand for Jesus. Boldness. Let me tell you what has helped me over the years. That same verse I read this morning. Know this, that you will answer to God. When you please man at the expense of God, only you will answer to God, you know. When you do what man wants you to do at God's expense, you are the only one who will answer to God. Not those people. You need to dress. Just have your speech where God is the one who is glorified. And why I use the word appropriate is because when it is appropriate, it's like a dagger that goes to the heart, and it is like a reminder to the mind of the person when you appropriately recognize God for what He has done. All of this is a testimony. Give God praise. In traveling, sometimes when they flip through my pastor, what type of work do you do? I said, I'm a pastor. Their whole demeanor changes. You ever had that happen to you? I know you're not a pastor. And most people, they would get a little more accommodating. I've had a few that kind of got rambunctious. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. Next verse. He says, and men shall speak of the mighty acts, might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. Man, do you declare God appropriately? Next verse. The Lord is, oh man, God is gracious. And He's full of compassion. And He's slow to anger. And man, He's every human being needs to know that. You're here this morning, you don't know the Lord Jesus is your Savior. You haven't decided to follow Christ. I want you to know one thing. He is gracious. And He's full of compassion. Now, how do I know that He's gracious? I'm not reading this, just for reading it. I'm reading it and identifying with it. He's been gracious to me. He has been full of compassion to me. Have you ever seen Christians live in a way where you say, well, I don't know why God let them get away with that? Yeah. You ever said that? Yeah. You better slow down. Because I like what Frank Turek says when people say to him, how come God let all the evil go by? And God should stop the evil. And Frank always asks him, you want him to get with you or me? Because if God judges now and He get rid of everyone who's evil, I just want to know you want him to start with you or me. See, because to most people, when we talk about evil, it's like, man, that rapist last night or that murderer last night. And you really believe now that you are better than the rapist and the murderer? So the point is, if you eager for God to judge another wayward Christian, you better get on your knees and bow your head and thank Jesus. He is merciful and full of compassion and slow to anger. Because sometimes we have a beam in our eye and there's only a sawdust in another person's eye, and you wonder why God hasn't zapped him or zapped her. You ever been there? Yeah, I've been there. The great David been there too. He said, Lord, I couldn't understand this. I looked to my left and looked to my right, and my wicked neighbor was doing better than I was doing. My neighbor was getting all the blessings as it appeared to me, and I'm wondering how come I'm serving God and getting nothing, and this guy's getting everything. And he said, I was almost gone, almost left my faith. He said, but I went back into the temple and I refocused, and I realized that the wicked shall soon be cut off. God is full of compassion. God is gracious. And he's slow to anger. And let me tell you the downside to the beauty of this verse. Because all those things are true of God, we kick him around like a soccer ball. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. See, I did that and God didn't beat me up. Oh, I did that. Yeah. Nah, we just box him around. Let's go to the next verse. The Lord is good to who? God is good to all. And his tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Lord, and thy saints shall bless thee. Boy, it's amazing how God designed everything he created to praise him. And the human being is the one that offers the least self-generated praise. He says they shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom and talk of all thy power. You know, every time, I said this to you a couple weeks ago, nature, pay attention to nature. Pay attention to the natural flow of things, because a lot of spiritual truths and a lot of God's reflection of God is in nature. One of the things that baffles me is, you look at flooding, you look at the snowstorms, you look at the hurricanes, you look at the tornadoes. Nothing man has made has ever conquered nature. You realize that? Nothing. Nothing. There are cracks in the Hoover Dam. When the Hoover Dam was made, it was considered to be the greatest wonder of the world. Greatest wonder. And yet, rain. The space shuttle, a little bit of cloud made out of stops the space shuttle from taking off or landing. That's amazing. Nature is a reflection of the glory of God and the power of God. Many houses have been washed away because of rain. Over flooded banks. We know of the power of a hurricane right here in our own island, our own country. God is marvelous. When I travel, people say to me things like, man, how do you all survive those hurricanes? I say, you mean outside of the houses being built properly? God. I always put that piece in it.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm always baffled to see how people would say to me, where have you lived all your life? In the Bahamas? Man, I don't know. No one can live there because how do you survive the hurricanes? You heard what you just asked me? You asked where did I live all my life? I said I live in the Bahamas. And you're telling me nobody could survive with the hurricanes? Man, that's a silly conversation. I want to know. She must not be too intelligent. I didn't say I came from Mars. I said I live in the Bahamas all my life. And even though you may not know how old I am, you know I didn't just come. And if that's where I spent all my life, how do you mean nobody can survive in the Bahamas with all the hurricanes? One guy said to me, I said, but where are you from? He said, I'm from California.
Oh, Lord.
I said, man, how did you survive all the earthquakes? And he caught it. He said, yeah, I get you. I said, yeah.
When they come in?
Come on, man. It's God. Let me tell you how I know it's God. When the last thing we had here passed, our roof was ripped up, neighbor's roof's solid. Roof in the back of us didn't lose one cap of a tile. The roof across the road was gone. Don't believe God was sleeping and all of that. God was quite awake. God could put his finger on something that nature can't touch it. And when God take his finger off something, no man's protection could stop nature from touching it. That's the God that we serve. And I don't want you to get all bent out of shape. Well, you know, our house stood because we had our hurricane shutters on. I know houses that grew away with hurricane shutters. It's God's mercy, my friend. Now, I believe that one of the ways that God has preserved the Bahamas is by giving us a governmental system that has increased the code and the building standard.
Yeah.
I believe that God has protected us by that means. But in the end, it is still, if the watchman watch and God doesn't keep the city, the watchmen still watch in vain. How can you open a door to witness for God? You simply speak of his greatness. Next verse. To make known to the sons of men his mighty acts. That's what we are for. We're to declare the greatness of God to people. That's what we do. And God is great in every arena, and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. The Lord upholdeth all that fall, and raising up all those that be bowed down. Beautiful opportunity for testimony. Could you give me a modern word to put in there? Those that are bowed down. Distressed, depressed. Let's read it again. And raising up all those that are depressed, discouraged, distraught. That's what God does. That's what he does. He lifts us up. He increases, he regenerates our spirit. You think there's some people that need that? I told you, I didn't elaborate on it the other day, but CNN, the Center for Disease Control, came out. There were 45,000 recorded suicides in America. Suicide is now the third leading cause of death in America. And suicide is the second major contributor to shortened lifespans in America. You know, when I hear it, you know what I always chuckle at? It's amazing that the world's number one nation has the biggest problems that advancement can't solve. My friend, America may be the number one nation on the earth, but they got more problems than some other nations. I read another report. 179 people were killed in school shootings in America. In the top leading 10 countries in the world, they've only had 79 people killed in the school shootings. You remember hear those things? His boy, they need God. Because only God could stop a mind that's prepared to kill people if the human being doesn't know about it. Only God can stop them. No one else can stop that. And I want you in the room to know, suicide is a permanent fix to a temporary problem. There's nothing glorious about suicide. When you feel down and out that you want to take your life, remember, some of that is satanic. Some of that is satanic. Some people have emotional issues. It's medical issues. It's not always satanic. And if you have emotional, mental issues, please get help. And it's amazing the power of the mind. See, when health and God are imparted in the mind, the desire to live exists. When you have mental illness and you open to Satan, Satan wants you dead. See, Satan came to kill, to steal, and destroy. And when we speak about the goodness of God, when I was depressed and down and out and didn't want to live, and how God lifted me up, then you are opening a door for testimony. Who has not been discouraged? If you've never been discouraged, you're a machine. We need to change your battery. Precious Jesus was discouraged. He didn't say discouraged long. Moses was discouraged. Jeremiah was discouraged. The Apostle Paul was discouraged. David was discouraged. There's no human being that is exempt from discouragement. But we don't have to stay there. Because the Lord raised up all those that be bowed down. That's the testimony we need to give every day to people. Every single day you're facing someone who's depressed and discouraged or at the point of wanting to give up. You just echo the greatness of God. That's all it is. Verse 15. He says, the eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat in due season. What do we say? God is never late. How does it go?
Always on time.
But always on time? Yeah, it may not come when you want it. Man. He says, thou openest thine hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. Now, go back. You realize that the human being is the only creation that has to work to get food? You realize that? Think about it. When I say work, I don't mean like go to get it. I'm talking about, yeah, you have to work to get food. You said, but the dog just go to your garbage. Dog doesn't have to get up in the morning, 8 o'clock, and get dressed and go to work. There's something to go to school to learn that. But think about it. Watch this. The fish in the sea, the babies become their food. I mean, just everything. But the Bible says, the Lord, thou openest thy hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. See, whose hand is open? That's God's hand that's open. And unsaved people who believe it's all about them, they just look ignorant a little more. That's still God opening his hand. How do we know it's God? Because those same people who have no regard for God when things are good, somehow remember there is a God when things are bad. Yeah. Next verse. The Lord is righteous in all his ways and holy in all his works. The Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon him. To all that call upon him in truth, though. We have to declare the truth to people by our simple testimonies, because people will ask you questions. People will ask you questions. And you could declare the glory of God, the power of God, the majesty of God, the simple acts of God. Next verse. For he will fill the desire of them that fear him. He will also hear their cry and will save them. Oh man, what a beautiful testimony. Beautiful testimony. The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked really. So people don't like to hear that. Now let's define who's the wicked. Using New Testament terms, who's the wicked? All those who are unsaved are considered wicked. That's who it is. And it's nothing to do with any special category. The unsaved are considered wicked. Because you see what it says, the Lord preserveth those that love him. We have to declare that truth as well. The wicked have to know. And you know what I find amazing? And I believe, Chuck Colson is one of them. I always find it interesting. People have to go to jail to find God. I say, yeah, or to let God find them, rather. Wouldn't it have been a whole lot easier to let God find you in your freedom? But see, some people, all of us have to be broken before we look to God. Man has to be broken before he looks to God. Because one of the ways we made the image of God is this whole idea we can handle it on our own. And then it's not until we're broken that we ever turn to God. If you're not broken in your sin, you'll never turn to God. If you're not broken in whatever your struggles are, you would never turn to God. You know what Job said? Job said, man, I'm finally at my wit's end, Father. I can't do anything else. I think Job was depending on his wisdom to a certain point. I believe that Job was depending on what he had in his former life and what he thought he still had. He said, man, I'm the counselor here for my friends. And finally he got to the point where God says, I'm going to break this guy. And then when he looked up, God had a conversation with him. And it was not until he was broken that God gave his latter end greater than his beginning. This is the simplest way you could share your faith. Just talk appropriately about the goodness of God. And I tell you this one thing. When you dress that way, people know just who to come to. They know who not to come to. Have you ever been in a group where they say to you, Bobby, I'm going to party, but we're not inviting you? Anyone ever happened to you? And you feel badly? You shouldn't feel bad. You should feel good. I've had that said to me many times. Wherever you have something but dang, like you. That's fine. I was out with a group of guys one day, we just kind of casually, we just happened to meet up. So we all going, they said, but wherever we going, you can't go. I'm thinking, no, he's mad. I mean, I can't go. I don't need to call him that. So we all going. So we're going to have a strip club. I said, yeah, I can't go. But you know what was the beauty of it? They had enough regard for my declaration of the God that I serve. So my dress and my talk lined up enough that they wouldn't ask me to go. When I was flying in the company radio, we have a company station, and they said, wait, and Beckles up there? So I didn't answer. He said, let's go to the next station. So I switched the station where they were. Where that conversation was going. So I said, hey! Did that's you, Rep? I said, yeah. So you all need to ease up for this conversation. When they got back, but they couldn't even look me in the eye. Two married men, if you were the junk they were talking about, they couldn't look me in the eye. One of them, I said to him, man, if you really want a decent marriage, you gotta get your act together. That's all I said to him. He said, yeah, man, I didn't know he was listening. I said, I didn't know he was listening. Are you bold enough? And all I made was a simple comment, if you want a decent marriage, you gotta get your act together. That's all I said to him. That's all I said. Because he knew I heard the content of his conversation. And I did listen to the whole conversation.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Catch more gaps.
The three of our planes were there. I was on.
You had nothing to do.
We were flying? Yeah, I was flying the plane. I really had nothing to do. I flying the plane. I wasn't on the ground. I was in the air. But you know the point I'm making? If you don't declare where you are, you won't have that kind of impact with a simple, appropriate statement. If you want your marriage to work, you got to clean your act. I didn't condemn, I didn't rebuke. What I said was, you got to clean your act. Do you have that impact where you are? It's a simple statement. A simple statement. But people have to know that you extol your God and your King. People have to know that you stand, you are proud of the great God that you serve. People have to know that. People have to know that God matters to you. That God is a big deal for you before you can ever declare Him without any embarrassment and any shame. I will extol thee, O God. Okay. You want to be salt and light? Start declaring appropriately, and I keep emphasizing that word. God. Give credit to God for everything. And I thank God that our children, our child, was able to graduate from high school. Don't put the leg. Oh, I'm just so glad he was able to pay those school fees all those years. Who gets the credit? It's you. No, that's the wrong thing to say. I'm grateful that God provided the means for us to get there. I'm grateful that God was able to protect whatever. Let people know you are not ashamed that it is your God that has done some things. And that's the easiest way to share your faith, people. You say, but I don't know all the verses in the Bible. I never mentioned a single verse in what I'm saying to you. I read from a verse, but we just praise our God for where it's appropriate for you. That's all people need to hear. You may not be able to explain the uncaused, timeless, non-physical being. That's fine. You may not be able to explain it like some of us can. You don't need to know that. Not to that extent, but that doesn't stop you from being a salt and light for Jesus. Some of you ladies need to say to some of these styles that are out there, if I wear that, that's not going to bring the best testimony to me for Jesus. You need the courage to say that. You need the courage to say, hey, you're all going down there. That's not the best place to be. I see you later. I go home. You just need the courage to say it. And let me tell you, once you develop that kind of testimony, you won't be asked to go certain places anymore. I always tell you, I don't understand why you have to get rid of your friends when you get saved. When you live for Jesus, your friends should get rid of themselves.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. I don't understand that. How do I get rid of my friends? You're not trying to get rid of them, but as you start to live for Jesus, they can fall off. Yeah, you know what anti-fouling paint is? Some of you know what that is, right? That's the paint you put on your boat, and the better the anti-fouling paint is, when those organisms when the salt water get on your boat and they taste that paint, they break off from it. You buy cheap anti-fouling paint, they can handle the taste. And if you would put on good anti-fouling paint, your friends wouldn't be a problem. But you know why you have a friend problem? Because you have a testimony problem.
Yeah.
That's why you have a friend problem. It's a testimony problem. But when you do what is right, I've lived this long enough. There are guys that will see me talk to me, but buddy, they will sit down. And I'm not the preaching kind that get in your face. Are you going to heaven tomorrow, boy? If you die right now, you will Jesus Christ, you know the thing. I breathe your life, break your words straight to heaven. I'm not that kind of person. Now I'm going to eventually talk about God. Don't get it wrong. Man, listen. You need to share your faith. If you're not sharing your faith, you're disobedient. If you're not sharing your faith, that may be one of the reasons why some of the blessings you're looking for aren't coming. See, so much is attached to obedience. You and I have been commissioned to share Jesus, to talk about Christ. That's what we're supposed to do. Are you sharing your faith? Do people know who you give credit to for all that happens to you? Are you dressed properly in the context of the message? I will speak of the greatness of my God. I will speak of the greatness of my King. How close to this? We ever stressed about a matter and then you released it?
Yes.
You went home and went to sleep? Need to tell people that. When they didn't ask if I slept from last night, I told her, no, I slept from Monday. What do you guys know what I told her? I slept from Monday. God has a way of settling our hearts like nothing else. He's better than that drink. He's better than the puff. He's better than that pill.
Yeah.
Yes. Father, we thank you that we've been commissioned to share our faith. Lord, I pray that you would renew all of our hearts this morning in being determined to be a testimony for Jesus. And those among us that aren't born again, I pray that they would not allow those who've been careless with their faith to distract them, because each one must stand before God for himself or herself. God, increase our desire and passion for you and for others, so that they would know the value of being born again. But we just want to be good salt and light food, to testify of your greatness, to testify of your majesty, to testify of your honor. And Lord, as we do that, you would bring people to hear us. We'd have an opening to share your faith. Oh Lord, forgive us for not being aggressive in sharing our faith appropriately. Remind us that that's our responsibility. And I give you praise. With every verse I read, I have a personal testimony for each verse. And so I give you praise. I bring honor to your name. In Christ's name.